just wanted to talk about the difference between a folk hero like Luigi and evil villains like Assad and Putin and Trump and other people in that network, Netanyahu, other evil villains, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, evil villains who are not like folk heroes, and what the difference is. And I noticed this because BBC had a guest on last night talking about Assad fleeing to Moscow after they overthrew him in Syria, and talking about all his prospects and different things. This was an expert who's written a book about tyrants who flee their country to get asylum somewhere else, or to attempt to, and what happens to them. And I guess people are really interested in that, not because there's so much sympathy for tyrants, just because it's an interesting condition for somebody to be in. They even mention many times in the interview things about how this is one of the most hated men on the planet because of all the terrible things he's done, all the lives he's cost and ruined and hurt. Um, One of the most hated people on the planet. Of course, I would also put Netanyahu and Putin and Trump up there in that club. But right now, Assad's the one who's facing some consequences for it. And they talked about interesting things like, how long Putin could or would protect him, and the fact that he would, if he is protected there, he would outlive Putin and have something else to worry about when Putin's gone. But also that he'd have to worry every single day of his life because people really dislike him like that. Thought about how interesting this compares to the coverage and the treatment of Luigi. First of all, they wouldn't have an expert on, or I don't think they ever did at BBC or any other uh, mainstream media program had an expert or would be talking about, well, what could he do to get away, and how could he? And this is in Luigi's only presumed to have hurt one person, whereas Assad's hurt hundreds of thousands and millions. So it's interesting the scale of things, like people who do these terrible things because our interest in them somehow uh, absolves us of acting like we should expect them to have consequences, or allows us to see their side of the story because they're that bad. But when somebody's actually a hero to most people and seen as good to most people, the mainstream media can't turn that corner and treat them as good because they're good for people who are against the bad people. So it really kind of makes media and other people kind of shake out on what side they're for, whether they're for tyrants, whether they're bootlickers, or whether they're for the people. And hopefully, all countries and all people can start having that conversation in polite and pleasant ways, and we can get rid of the tyrants just by letting them know how much we don't like them. Thanks. Welcome to the Pillar Revolution, Fair Liberation Front, and the Church of Judas. We're going to end all war and patriarchy.